Indian chef and author Raghavan Iyer grew up in Bombay eating his family's home cooking. Learning to cook didn't enter the picture until he came to America to study, and longing for those tastes of family and home, he began to cook.
I've always said I learned to cook the Indian way in a foreign land. I came to the US 34 years ago not knowing how to cook, especially the Indian way. I had my mother's and my sister's and my grandmother's flavors in my memory bank. Going through the grocery store was an eye-opening experience for me because I didn't recognize 90% of the ingredients in there. But I remember very distinctly there was this one can of curry powder which sort of jumped right out, and I picked up the can, I looked in the back, and it said, this magically transports you to India and all of that. Well, this is my ticket. And I made it, and I literally cried because it was A, god-awful, B, I was homesick, and C, I thought, well, this is not what I grew up with. We're going to do tea-infused new potatoes that are going to be tossed with butter that's been flavored with fresh ginger. And then we're going to combine all of that with Chinese 5-spice powder and cayenne. It's sort of like a warm potato salad with attitude. Black tea leaves is what we use, and that gives it a very underlying bitterness, which is a very key essential taste element in Chinese cooking, or any kind of cooking for that matter. We've got these potatoes in this very, very dark brewed tea. We're going to cover that and let it steep until the potato is tender. And the butter, once it melts and it starts to foam a little bit, before we go ahead and add the ginger to it. The aroma is a beautiful signal in telling you that the ginger is cooking without blackening, and it's very, very lightly browned. When you think about cooking with tea, it's such an odd concept in the Western world, but tea is such a big part of Asia. Think about what happens with barbecuing and grilling in this country, and they have all these different kinds of hickory chips and so on that go with it. So in some ways, tea sort of has that same influence. The ginger that's been lightly browned in the butter, I'm going to add to that a couple of teaspoons of the Chinese 5-spice powder. The heat in that pan is just enough to cook those spices without burning. And then we're going to take also the scallions. You can see the colors come through beautifully well. To me, the element that really ties it all together is some fresh squeezed lemon juice. People always say, what is your passion with potatoes? And I always say it's like a maniacal passion. This passion has been there ever since I was born. Potato was this untouched easel, and to me that really is the beauty of working with potatoes. It's very malleable. It was just a natural extension for me. Now I cannot think about a meal without potatoes, truth be told. It's very nutritious. You can actually do potatoes 365 days a year with very, very distinct recipes. It is so addictive. The little tea that's in there comes through, and it's all beautifully balanced with the acidity from the lemon juice. And the 5-spice powder is very subtle in the back. And the cayenne is very, very mellow, but the combination of it is dynamite with the ginger and the scallions. If I feel like the doctor says, man, you have to cut down on your carbs, I'd say, you know what, I'd rather go die. I die happy.